Well, in the fall things were going really well. It was hard, and it still remains hard. Where when the team's at home, everybody's got different availability, pool availability, weight room availability. So the team wasn't as prepared as a group coming in the fall, but we had a really productive fall semester. We were able to get in, 5-6 days a week. We did a lot of drill work. We were building up the technique, the training. Everything was looking really good. We were doing some different test sets that we would normally do anyway, and the results of those were really fantastic. But having a little longer layoff than usual, going from before Thanksgiving until today being the first day back in the water, January 7th. A bit of a setback, and things looked a little sloppy today. There's still some people who were able to get in the water and do some things. Some people who were able to find ways to work out. Although working out outside wasn't an option for a lot of people because of the weather. There's going to be some work to do. We'll see how it goes. It's for everybody. It's not unique to us. Everybody is dealing with a different type of season, and I guess one of the silver linings is that the conference championships isn't 6 weeks away; it's 9 weeks away, or whatever the number is. I honestly haven't even counted the days yet, but having those extra 2-3 weeks, whatever it is, to prepare is going to be really beneficial, I think. Without having that graduation ceremony. Without that, some of the traditional things we would have done at the end of the school year, the people who were juniors last year almost still feel like juniors. I was just talking to Tony Kraus before break, and I thought he was still a junior. So he's a senior. He's obviously put in a lot of work over the summer. He looks great. He was swimming really well in the fall semester. Looking good for the breaststroke, the IM, potentially the 200 butterfly. You have Michael Moussa, who's a returning conference champion in the 200 backstroke, and he's very motivated in North Carolina. He was able to do some extra work down there that people from other areas weren't able to do. Jason Alexander is very motivated. He was one of the top backstrokers in the conference. He looks strong. Devin Reynolds, being a local kid, had struggled a little bit because there weren't a lot of opportunities to work out. But he wants to finish strong, and he did really well last year, also being a finalist in the 200 backstroke. James Hancock is a tremendous leader for us. He really works hard and puts a lot of effort into what he does. A little bit of a setback. I don't want to say setback. A hiccup last year. I think he put some pressure on himself because his sophomore campaign was so good. That extra pressure just tightened up a little bit and didn't make the progress that he wanted to make, and he came back this year and looks a lot better. The stroke looks like it did 2 years ago, and his times in practice and the test sets are matching what he was doing 2 years ago. Jonah Sutter is our senior male diver. He's one of two seniors. We have one male, one female, and it's really been interesting watching him grow over his 4-year career. When he came in, he had kind of talked himself into thinking he wasn't very good, and he was a little bit nervous about doing some different dives and very apprehensive about the 3-meter. His sophomore year, he came back. He was a little bit stronger. Still wasn't convinced that he was a good diver. And then last year, he kind of made the conscious decision. You know what? I've been doing this. I can do this. I can do the 3-meter. He struggled a little bit with a knee issue, but fought through that. And this year, he looks a lot better. I think he was encouraged by how well he scored last year. The positive feedback that he got, the new dives that he learned, and he's really blossomed into a leader. He not only leading the diving group, but also integrating with the swimmers to make sure that that the whole group, the whole unit, is working towards that common goal of being the best athletes they can be, the best students they can be, and translating that hopefully into a conference championship. Yeah. This whole year is going to be, this whole spring semester is just going to be strange. I know not everybody's even dealing with the return to practice the same way. So, when you have a meet, our first dual meet is scheduled tentatively for January 29th, and when we face those teams on January 29th, where they're at that day and where they're at when it comes time for the conference championship, Yeah, it could be like facing two completely unique, different teams. And so you look at the different schools in the conference, and you go through alphabetically. Bethany, they always seem to find some people who are going to do well and perform well at the conference championships. Chatham, they only had the one guy last year, but they've added a few more, and what Coach Yost is doing with them down there, I've seen a lot of great things, especially from the guy last year, and I think the attitude that he has, is contagious, and they're gonna continue to grow and get better, and they'll impact the overall championship. St. Vincent, they always have great swimmers, and they have a very strong freshman class. They have a national qualifier. Hopefully this whole COVID situation doesn't impact their ability to perform well. W&J, the last couple of years, their roster was a little smaller. This year they have a big roster. They have a nice number of guys, but because they're all new faces, you really have no idea what they're bringing to the table. But I can't imagine that they're not going to come in and want to prove themselves and not make an impact on the overall meet. And of course Westminster. I mean, that's always it's been a great rivalry for us. Coach Smith and I, we've talked to each other numerous times over the years. I mean, I've known him since he was 16 years old, probably. And, even when I coached against him when he was a high school student and when he was a swimmer at Westminster, and now, that he's coaching there, his teams have made my teams better, and I think vice versa. That's, and I know that's something that's always in the back of our minds. Like, we need to challenge ourselves because we know Westminster's challenging themselves. They're coming every year to win a conference championship, and we have to do everything we can to try and perform, just a little bit better. So we'll see how that all plays out here over the course of the rest of this season.